While a going out is, really supposed to be about the children and their interests and their planning, in order for them to be successful in that, there are lots of things adults have to take into consideration. And I mentioned, one of those is talking with your administration. And there are a number of factors to consider as your school's determining the sort of policies around going out. Transportation. Are the children able to take the city bus or the subway? Can they walk somewhere in the neighborhood? Is there a school vehicle that can be used, and who's qualified to drive that? Can they use a parent's vehicle? What needs to be done for that to happen? Every school is going to have some different rules and expectations around this, so that's an important part of that conversation with administration, so that you just know what the children have at their disposal as far as transportation. The same is true for any sort of paperwork that needs to be in place. Some schools will allow for some blanket permission slips for a number of different trips. Other schools really require a permission slip for every single outing. So you need to know what the expectations and requirements are at your school so that the children can work to fulfill those in their planning. And one thing to really remember, even as disappointing as it is, when a child comes in without their permission slip on the day of an outing, we cannot take children off campus without their parents' permission. We just cannot do it. So really build in a system or a structure that's going to help parents and children be able to get this necessary paperwork completed. Also talk with administration about chaperones. Who gets to take the children on these outings? What sort of requirements have to be fulfilled? Many schools, most schools these days, require a background check on any adult that's taking children off campus or working with children in any way. So I really recommend, if you can, to use a staff member for going out, because they know the children better and they know the sort of approach better. If you are going to use parents, I've always done a sort of going out training for parents. So they had to come and sort of understand the theory behind going out, and then also the sort of approach and expectations of the chaperone, because the chaperone is not to get involved. They're there simply to help keep the children safe. We want the children to be able to sort of make their own mistakes and solve their own problems on this trip, as long as they are not in danger. For example, I had a class once where a small group went to the Natural History Museum. And this is back in the time when you could take the city bus and get a paper transfer that would allow you to use that for the next couple of hours to ride any other bus. So the children had budgeted to pay for their trip to the museum, spend a couple hours there, and then come back using that transfer before the time expired. Well, they go to leave, and it's a crisp, cool November day. And one of the little girls on the trip could not find her transfer anywhere in her coat pockets. And the children looked at each other and realized, well, I guess we'll have to walk back to school. It's about a mile away, so we'll walk. And they started walking. And there was some grumbling, and this poor little girl is just frantically looking through all her pockets. And about a block later, she triumphantly says, "Look!" And she had found a dollar bill in her pocket. She said, "I'll spend my own money so that we can take the bus back." What a great experience for her. What a real consequence of, losing her transfer. Could the adult have stepped in and solved that whole problem? I mean, the adult probably had cash in their wallet, sure. But that's not our job on an outing unless they ask for that specific help. We want to give them the opportunity to problem solve. And this is hard for a lot of adults to do, to stay back. So that's why if we are going to use chaperones from outside of the school, we want to be sure that we've trained them really well so that they're able to handle that responsibility and give the children the independence that they deserve. So even though this is really a child-focused activity, there's a lot of preparation we have to put in place and things that we have to consider so that we can have systems organized for the children to follow so that they can build toward independence in going out all on their own.